Hi, it's Terrie Carr, and you are inside DHA's Box of Rock, where we get you up close and personal with your favorite rockers. This week, it's my all-time favorite rocker, as I caught up with the one and only Slash. So I'm inside the Box of Rock with a man who needs absolutely no introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Slash. I'm excited.
I'm excited too.
Are you?
Well, yeah, it's good to see you. I haven't seen you.
It's great to see you. I haven't seen you in a couple years. I wanted to start, of course, we're going to talk about the great record, Apocalyptic Love, but I first wanted to ask you, when you were a kid, what was the epiphany for you? Who did you see? Who did you listen to where you said, you know what, that's me, that's how I identify?
It was, I think I've told this story a million times, but it was, the turning point was the Aerosmith Rocks record. And I was like, I think the first time I ever heard it, I was like 13 years old. And then not too long after that, I picked up the guitar, and that was the divining rod that sent me in the direction that I went in.
And especially the graphics on that record too. When you opened it up and you saw like Tyler and he's laying there, and you're just like, wow, look at that.
I totally got turned on to their music. I had no idea who they were, and then slowly but surely, I think I went to go see them in 1979. It was like right before they split up. And they were the fitting image to the music.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right, so Apocalyptic Love, what a great top to bottom record. I mean, this to me is the record of this summer. You put it on, just fantastic. It sounds like you had a lot of fun making it, yes?
That's a pretty bold statement, the record of the summer.
For me, it is. I mean, it hasn't left the car. I love that the tracks just sort of one goes into the next. It's a down and dirty rock and roll record. Was it fun to make?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to make. It was a lot of work. We went in and did about a month's worth of pre-production after the songs were written, just to get it so that we could play it top to bottom without stopping. And then we went in and banged it out, and we just had a blast in the studio. All these guys have great, super work ethics, and they're as passionate about getting it right and so on and so forth as I am, and so we really gelled together in the studio.
And tailor made for live play too. I mean, it's like a record.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when we go and play it live, it's exactly what we were doing when we were in the studio. So we really don't screw it up too much.
No, phenomenal. I mean, just amazing. I can't wait to hear it live too. So let's talk about your interesting relationship with singers, because you've had some amazing singers. Miles seems very different personality-wise than some of the people that you've worked with.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the reasons why he and I get along so well is because I hate to say it, but I think it's because he's a guitar player.
Yeah, he started as a guitar player, right?
He's got that sort of low-key demeanor, and he discovered later on that he could sing. And so now that he's actually a front man, he doesn't have... Because you have to have a certain personality to go up and stand there with a microphone and belt out these heartfelt lyrics, and you have to have a certain kind of self-image or something, which I think guitar players hide behind their guitars. So there's a contrast in personality. But he started out as a guitar player, so when he goes up and sings, he's still got that sort of guitar player demeanor.
And tell me about the rest of the Conspirators, Todd and Brent. Just a great rhythm section.
I mean, these guys, this is the first band that I've been in where I had never met the people in it before. And of course, it just goes to show that I'm not always right about it. So, because, I always think, well, I'll put a band together with guys I know from LA, and it's always pretty predictable how it's going to turn out. And so I just sort of took a shot in the dark with all these guys, and it turned out to be one of the best pickup bands I've ever worked with. And so that carried us all the way through the tour for a year and a half. And I thought, shit, I should make a record with these guys, so here we are.
And Miles, think about it. I mean, did you call him, was it like 10 years ago or something? You really didn't know who he was. I think I'd read somewhere that Matt Sorum said, you got to check this guy out. And you sort of talked to him in 2002, I think it was.
Yeah, when his name came up via Matt when we were auditioning singers before Velvet Revolver was Velvet. And I guess Matt gave me his number and had me call him. And I talked to him on the phone. I don't even remember talking to him on the phone, but I remember his name. And we sent him some music, and he never followed through with it. So he just blew it off and continued on. And then after Scott, his name came up again via Matt. And Matt called him this time. And Miles was like, well, you know, I'd really like to come down, but I'm committed to Alter Bridge, and I'd hate to leave my guys in the lurch, you know, that kind of thing. And upon hearing that, I was like, what a cool guy, you know. And then fast forward another couple of years, and I'm making this solo record with all these singers, and Miles had just been sent down to London to go work with Led Zeppelin, and I thought, you know, and I heard about it, and I was like, this guy has to be good. So I had some songs. I finished the whole record, and it was about ready to go into mastering. And I had these two pieces of music that had been staring me in the face the whole process of making the record, and I just couldn't figure out who should sing these two songs. So I thought, let's just try this Miles. You know, obviously I was curious, and so I sent him one of the pieces of music, and he sent it back, and it was Starlight, and it was really good. I mean, you know, and I was pretty floored by it. So flew him out to LA, and we met for the first time, and we hit it off right away. And we recorded that song, and then I asked him to do the other piece of music, and that turned into Back from Cali. And at that point, I was like, hey, you want to do a tour? Because I was just starting to formulate that whole concept. And I thought he would say no, because, you know, Alter Bridge commitments or whatever. But he just happened to be on a break. So the stars sort of lined up for that one. And then I had all these drummers that I was trying out, which all of whom I know and I've either played with before or seen play. And then everybody was directing me towards this guy, Brent Fitz, who I'd never heard of. So I got so many unrelated, like people unrelated to each other, phone calls and emails about this guy. So I was like, okay, I was in Vegas one time, and I thought, let's look up that drummer. So I met him at the hotel, and he was great, and I flew him out to LA, or he drove out to LA, right? And we jammed, and he was like the perfect behind the beat hard rock drummer. And I had a bass player, and he didn't work out, so Brent turned me on to Todd, and Todd's phenomenal. So
awesome. And the Conspirators are born. All right, so you're a kid. Do you ever have the vision this big when you know that this is what you want to do, and you're listening to Aerosmith Rocks, that, you know what, I'm going to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I'm going to be on the Hollywood, you know, Walk of Fame? Did it ever? No. Was it ever this big for you?
Those aren't aspirations that you know, that you're reaching for when you're coming up. It's always been about the music and stuff. And when those things come along, it's usually a really sort of pleasant surprise, and it's very sort of humbling, and you really feel grateful that people would put that kind of I don't know, that kind of sincere love for what you do to give you an award for it, you know. And so it's nice. But I mean, when I first started out, it was just about learning how to play guitar, and eventually I think the dream was to be able to play in front of a lot of people and do that kind of thing. And it wasn't very much more complicated. No, the thought of Rock and Roll Hall of Fame never crossed my mind.
Yeah. And now you're in.
I don't think I even knew it existed.
Right. And also, you know, when you think of Slash, you never usually think of necessarily philanthropy, but you do a lot of great stuff. I got to tell you, the thing I love the most is you do a lot of stuff for animals. I know you're on like foundations for the Los Angeles Zoo and the Wildlife Way Station. I love that. It's got to feel good to be able to give back to things you feel passionately about.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm an animal fanatic since I can remember. And in Los Angeles, there's a lot of different institutions that, including the zoo, which are all sort of about the survival of all the different species of animals that we're losing, and so on and so forth.
And you have children now, so that has to mean something to you too, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, with the kids, I'm trying to turn them on to some of the things that they might not be aware of that are going on out there, because, you know, when you're a kid, you're sheltered from a lot of stuff, and so I don't sort of expose them to extreme reality in the harshest sense, but I sort of give them an idea as to what's happening, and it's great for them. You know, they've gotten a good education on that level for sure.
So this must be a really satisfying time for you too as an artist. I mean, you've been in amazing bands, you're able to put out solo stuff, you can sort of play with whoever you want these days. Do you feel like you're at a really satisfying point in your career?
I'm definitely having a really good time right now. You know, sort of working at my pace, which is breakneck speed, and doing a lot of stuff at once, which for some reason I seem to thrive on. And everything's going really well, so yeah, I cannot complain.
Slash, what can I say? Thank you so much for taking the time. This has been for me like a little slice of heaven, man. I just loved it. Thank you so much.
Nice talking to you.
How amazing to have the opportunity to sit down and have an in-depth conversation with Slash. And when I said Apocalyptic Love is the record of the summer, I mean it. So many amazing tracks. You've got to check out a real standout called Anastasia that is absolutely fantastic. And if you missed Slash when he played Jersey last time, you've got 2 more opportunities to catch him. September 14th at the House of Blues in Atlantic City and September 18th at New York City's Hammerstein Ballroom. Slash, thank you so much for the incredible, incredible hospitality. For DHA's Box of Rock, I am Terrie Carr. I'll see you tomorrow at 10.